Welcome back to Jake's Chop Shop, guys. On this episode, we take care of the bodywork on the VL LS build, and we get to see the first look of the new paint color. Let's check it out. All right, guys, we're back at it again on the VL. So, last week, taking care of most of the fabrication, all that sort of stuff, the rust, some dents. Now, this week, we're gonna get straight onto body because obviously time is of the essence, and this thing needs to get done. We've got no other option. So, first thing I've done, stripped the doors, stripped the quarter windows out, got rid of the side moldings, pulled those off, cleaned off the residue. First thing I'm gonna do is the whole car, the outside of the car. So start with the 80 grit, orbital the whole thing. Get rid of everything, feather down what we have to feather down. I'm not gonna paint strip the car, not interested in it. The paint's not showing any signs of real issues underneath yet, so it's cool, leave it, it's fine. Orbital the whole car, I'll put it on time lapse so you guys can follow along. And then I'm basically gonna do the outside because I think the main thing I'm going to face with this car is shrink back, right? Because obviously I want this to be quite a nice paint job on this car and to last. And with the time frame, I'd usually like to have the car sit in primer for like 3 to 4 weeks, get all the shrink back out and then block it and then go to the paint stages. But obviously we need to get the car done in 4 weeks. So we're pushing it. So first thing I want to do is work from the outside in. Normally I do inside out. But I'm going to get the outside in primer as soon as I can. So I'm going to work on the outside and then once that's drying, we'll work around that and go through the inside of the car. Let's get it. All right, so now we've got the car sanded on both sides. What I'm going to do is I had to fill up a little dent where I filled up the fuel filler cap, welded that up. So I put a bit of fiberglass on there first, bit of filler over the top just to flatten that out. What I'm going to do next is basically go over the whole side of the car with filler. So I'm going to be using the 3M Platinum Plus, and I'm going to start from one quarter panel, go work my way down the side of the car, cover absolutely everything in filler. Now, we're going to do this just to sharpen everything up, get rid of any warps, get the body right where we want it, all right? So, thin coat, not crazy heavy, but obviously enough to sand off and get coverage. We're also going to pick up all the shopping trolley dents or anything like that when we do that, and we'll block it all, all right? Now, there's a bit of a wild card and a quick tech tip when you're doing this. So, I'll start with the rear quarter, go to the door, front door, and then what I want to do is wait until that filler is not fully dry. So when you can scratch it, but it's not leaving fingerprints, that's when we're going to start blocking it. So we're going to cut through everything super quick because you don't want it to go super hard where it's an effort to sand. You want it semi-soft, smash through it, and we're going to save a bit of time. We want to get it done. So let's see how fast we can do this. All right, guys, so obviously filled this whole side up with the filler and then blocked it with some 40 grit, all right? Now, I haven't cleaned up around the edges yet or cleaned all the filler out of the gaps. We'll leave that for now. Next thing I'm gonna get onto is, obviously, there's been no sort of guide code on the filler. I've just sort of used the filler itself to sort of identify the highs and lows as you go, as you can sort of tell as the color of the filler changes when you sand it. I've got it all pretty much where I believe it's pretty good. Next step, we're going to use some of this Bodywork's guide coat on the car. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you now. All right, so just because you initially sanded the car down with 40 grit with the filler, doesn't mean you have to end there. So what we're going to do is chuck a bit of this guide dust on. And have a look. So now you get this stuff from the body shop, paint supplies. Go down there, see those boys, they'll help you out. I think it's pretty cheap. I think it's around 20 bucks for a tub of that stuff, so super affordable. Super good guide coat. So just be generous with it. Now I'm just going to do a section of this so you get an idea and then go over the whole car. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get the a bit of 120 grit on the big block and go over it. All right, let's get it. So actually what I'm going to do now, got my block here, the large one. I like using this in the early stages of the filler work because we want to cut through, cover the most surface area we can. Now I've got some, what is it called? Cubitron. Let's chuck it on. Boom. See how it's going to pick up straight away with that guide coat what we're doing. So it's going to simplify all our work. We'll have a look. Because again, time is of the essence in this build. Now, like the yellow car, we want to get away with the least amount of primes as possible. So if I can get it as close as I can in the filler work, that's going to help us because we want to obviously get the primer on the car for as long as we can with the short time frame we can to encourage the most shrink back before we lay a coat of paint on it. So just got to keep that in mind. All right, now guys, haven't quite finished yet, but you can already see the massive difference and how much I missed with the 40 grit. Going over that, obviously, got a bit of a low down here. We picked up on a lot of scratches, a few little edges around the place, and it didn't take much time, right? Cut through it, get it done. Now, obviously, if we were to lay a primer on it before, opposed to now, you can imagine how much less shrink back we'd get now that we've flattened it out. So I'll touch up a few things, continue going, and then go to a finer grit again. So I'll probably sand it with a 180. I reckon I'll finish it off in, maybe even a 240. And obviously as we go, because the body's straight, it's gonna get easier and easier for us to get it right. And then obviously to lay primer or a poly over that, so much less shrink back. All right, let's get back to it. I think the other side's almost dry, so straight back on the block. All right, guys, so I've almost finished the sides with the filler. This is an absolute drag. So, man, you just got to stay motivated, keep at it, try and just envision the finished product, and we will get this done eventually. But yeah, smash boggle down the side of it. We've done the old fucking door gap delete on it. So, look, John, you might have the door lock delete, but I've got the door gap delete. Anyway, so that's all looking good. Now I'm gonna go blow the car off and start working on the roof. So first thing I'm gonna do is get a rubber mallet. Again, not very technical, but you get that. And see these supports here? See how that's all bent down? I'm gonna hit that up. So smash those up with a rubber mallet first, and then look over the boot and where we can get a hammer. I'm gonna get a hammer in here and push some of these dents up, because all down the side, both sides of the roof, there's mad dents. Because yeah, we were just sitting on the roof and stuff. Didn't think this far ahead. So start on that, clean it up, and then I'm gonna start chucking some filler on that. So let's get it done. There is the mat. Show you something in a minute.
I've been in here all morning.
What I'm going to touch on here is been busy on the sides. Mark came down from the Iron Empire. If you haven't already, go check out his channel. He came down today, gave me a hand with the blocking. The sides are pretty much wrapped up. A few little bits and pieces, little touch-ups I had to do, but apart from that, they're done. Next to do on the front window sill. So obviously all the rust was repaired. I've gone over it with some deoxidine and a scourer, pretty much sort of like a rust converter. And now what I'm doing, as you can see here, is I've started to put a bit of fiberglass. So just around the edge, run my finger, boom, 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 all the way around. Skim of fiberglass. So skim of fiberglass all over all the welds, all that sort of stuff, and then just block that down and then go over that with some dolphin glaze. And that's just gonna help seal everything up. So if there's a tiny pinhole I missed or anything like that, it's gonna seal that up. Fiberglass good, and as long as you treat the metal and stuff, you won't have a problem with that. So I'll go around the window, smooth that up, because also I want to have the inside lip behind the window, and that ought to be smooth. No pitting or anything in that, so we'll keep going. So we've been pushing on, the boot's now done. All obviously filler first, then a bit of dolphin glaze over the top, started cutting out the door jambs on this side. So, shut you prick. Door jambs cut out and it's looking good. Look down the side. Fucking red hot. Now, just doing around the window. So obviously a bit of fiberglass, and then some just 3M Platinum Plus filler over the top, over the cow panel. Just square that up nicely. Started going over this. Now what I've done is just run the, where is it? My long block with some 180. So this bad boy here, bit of 180 on it. And I've just gone over the roof and I've located all the highs and lows. So there's a bit of a low just here, a few little high spots here and just here. But that's what I like to do. So sometimes if it's a big surface like that, the surface is pretty even color-wise, you can sort of run your block across it real quick and it will just, not using your guide code or anything, you look at the scratches and where there's the contact points, where there isn't the contact points, and then yeah, run your hand over it, have a good feel, and yeah, go from there. Sometimes it just gives you a bit of indication of where to start, where to hit, where not to hit, and yeah, let's get some filler on it and keep going. All right, so just finished sanding the bottom of this side of the car. Now it's time to sort out these gaps. You guys might be wondering how I'm going to do with this. This is the key, angle grinder. All right, if you don't like it, too bad. Let's get it done. All right, guys, so finally, it's time to get this car in the booth. It's been a big week last week. Heaps of rubbing my dick. But now it's all ready. The guards are all cleaned up, nose cones all cleaned up. I've just finished vacuuming the car, blowing it all off. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is prep sole the whole car, clean it all up, roll it in the booth, mask up the windows, the door frames, because I'm not going to prime those at the moment. Mask up around the rear of the rear bottom panel. Mask up the wheels and the bay. Prep sole the car, get ready. So I'll prime the body, prime the panels. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some 1K etch primer in a gun and over all the bare metal sections around the place, rub through. So I'm just going to give a real light flick of etch primer with all the panels, and then after that, what I'm going to do is lay a coat of the Body Shop, what is it called? I think it's just like a 4-to-1 primer, general stuff we use. Lay 3 coats of that on the car, and then after that, I'm gonna let that dry in between coats, let it flush off. So give it about 15 minutes in between each coat. And then I'm gonna hit the sides, the roof, the panels, all the areas that most of the bog work's on with a poly primer. So it's just like a real thick, almost like a filler primer over the car. And that's that. We'll pull it out, have a look at it. Let's get into it. So now the car's in primer. Next day now, I think Big Luke's coming around to give me a hand, but next point of call is I'm actually gonna strip this car even further. So boots coming off, doors are coming off. We're gonna get into the insides of the doors, the inside of the boot, inside of the boot lid, the jams, get all that stuff underway. So obviously now the outside's sitting in primer, apart from the bonnet. I've started working on the bonnet, started cleaning up all on the inside of the bonnet. I'm just gonna pop down to the body shop today and get some nice panel adhesive to glue the frame back to the skin of the bonnet. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So all these areas here that are all cracked and shit, I'm gonna clean all this up real nice, and where I've welded in new panels here, clean all this up first, and then push this down, panel adhesive underneath the frame, glue it together. So I'm gonna go see the boys, get some stuff for that. But in the meantime, pull this car apart, and we're gonna start getting the jams ready, all that sort of stuff. Probably sand it all up, do any filler work we have to do, put it in a primer sealer, like a thinned out high fill primer. Get that underway, because obviously we're gonna do all the inners first and then work our way out with the paint. So if I could be either painting, laying a little bit of color down, or just about ready to paint by the end of this week, I think we'll be all on schedule. So, and also that gives us the most time for the outside of the car to sit in this primer. What I will be doing halfway through the week is I'll probably get an orbital with a 400 pad and just go over all the outsides to take that top layer of primer off so all the solvents can sort of come out, and just sort of vent so we don't get as much shrink back. So let's get into that. All right, so I'll just show you guys something real quick. Luke's here helping out with the doors. We're both just kicking along. Removing doors off early Commodores is a full gay task. So the best way we've come up with is you want to find a nice bolt, something like this, or something like this. So where your pin is, you sit it on top of the pin. Has to be the right size though. It can't go through the middle. Has to sit on the lip, and you're just going to smack that down. You know what I mean? So this long one here, put it in there, hold that with some pliers, give it a whack underneath, bang the pin out. Okay, so me and Luke have been working on the door jambs. They're pretty much wrapped up, as you can see. Little bit of filler along the bottom, all the nicks feathered out, bit of filler here. Cleaned everything up both sides. So they're on lunch break. Onto the engine bay. So obviously a bit of filler over where I did the delete for the bonnet holder. Bit of filler here, just cleaning up the rails because obviously I rushed the job last year when I was doing the bay, so there was a few things that I missed. That's cool. Chucking a little bit of filler around the place, just cleaning up a few little edges, but overall this is pretty good nick. So do a few touch-ups with the dolphin glaze, and then basically soft back pad the engine bay with some of these, as we like to use, get them from the body shop, and also an orbital sander with a soft back pad. So get all this buzz back, feather up the strut tops, bit of paint cracking, and I'm gonna chuck this in primer as well, just so everything's uniform color. So when we go forward, even though we're gonna put a ground coat down for this color we're painting the car, still all nice to have everything uniform. So boom, get that all sorted. Let's keep going. Guys, so we're back here. The doors are all prepped up. I've been busy. There's been some stuff I've done off camera because at this point of the job, it's like, do I spend extra time and set up the camera and lose time overall? I can't really afford that at the moment. So what I've done, sanded up all the doors, stripped them out, did some rust repairs in a few corners, and then put some fiberglass filler and then some dolphin glaze over the top. And then what I've done is I've wire-wooled all the seams around the edges. So around all these areas around the edges, wire welded them all out. Boom, boom, boom. And what I've done is I've just put a skim of seam sealer the whole way around the door. Now, you might be like, that's not very nice. That looks a bit ugly, blah, blah, blah. By the time the primer's on and the paint's on, you won't even know. And honestly, this car, it's not gonna be a show car. That's not the goal here. The goal is super clean streeter, all right? So for me, it seals up the seams, right? You're not gonna get any moisture in there. Quick, easy way, it looks neat. And by the time you get that primer fill, the paint fill, it actually looks super factory. So that's what I've done there. Now what I'm gonna do, chuck them in the booth. I've cleaned out the doors, spray a bit of etched primer on the areas where the bare metal's showing, and then slap them in some 2K high build primer from the body shop. Let's get it. All right, so finally time to prime the bay, jams, and inside the boot. So I've been busy, did a few filler repairs, obviously with the Dolphin glaze, spare metal these strut tops here. There was a bit of flaky paint, so take those back. The rest of it, I've gone over with the Orbital with the 180, and then the softback pad, the 240 320 yellow one. Same as the jams, a little bit of filler work there. Me and Luke got these down, cleaned up around the rear quarter windows. The boot took a long time. There was so much more time than I expected. Obviously destroyed the floor at some of that, so sort of warped everything, made a mess of it. So finally got that pretty much where I want it. Hopefully, touch wood, it's right and it doesn't need any more touch-ups. Cut the seatbelt holes out of the infill panels so that the original seatbelt sits in the factory position. That's all done. So yeah, just a heap of work everywhere. Seam sealed up underneath the parcel shelf. Obviously all the rust repairs around the boot lid. It's all done, this side all done. Let's get into it. It's Friday, so get the car done. All that in primer, I'll feel better about the whole job. Let's get it. So guys, it is Saturday now. Just getting the bonnet, all the filler work on the top done and the filler work inside the boot lid done. I reckon this week, just to finish it off, I want to try and get the inside of the doors, maybe the inside of the guard lip and the nose cone in some colour, because I'm itching to spray some of this colour out. I haven't sprayed any out yet. I went and bought it all from the body shop the other day. So thanks to those boys for helping me out with that one. Obviously, insides of the doors. So what I'm going to do, as you've seen, I finished off the primer, the bog stage and everything with these doors in 180 grit. Primed it with the Body Shop high build primer, right? And what I've done is just got some GMH black, 1K black. Just did a bit of a dust coat, used as a guide coat. And now what we're going to do to sand this shit up, and pretty much everything for clear over base, silver, metallics, all that sort of bullshit. I've got some water here in a bucket, got some blocks, got some waterproof paper, whatever the fuck you call this. Good shit, 600 grit. And I'll be going around the doors with the 600, cleaning all that up, making it all sexual. I won't worry about the door frames because we're going to do those black. Let's get into it. So obviously, yeah, tonight, this in primer, car's already been primed. Let's get these doors, bit of colour on, and then we'll wrap up the video. Finally, it's deep Saturday night. I've got the doors masked up in the booth. They're all in here. Finally going to lay some colour for the first time. I haven't even done a test panel or anything like that, so this is going to be the first time I'm going to see the colour. You guys are going to see it with me. Let's get it. What a way to finish the week. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. All right, guys, it is finally done, and I'm fucking wrapped. This color is killer. It's just what I imagined. At a glance, it sort of looks like a bit of a mulberry, but then when you put a light on it, or you look at it in different lights, it has a nice, like a dark flip to it. Super wrapped, and all the products, everything's come out like $1 million with that Body Shop Clear. Yeah, this is the motivation I needed, just to see some colour on the car finally, just a little bit, just a teaser, and now I'm back in the game. I was having a bit of a slump at the end of this week, and just way too much body work to get a bit over it, but seeing this finally, it was worth doing a couple extra hours tonight and getting it done. Can't wait to put in the sun tomorrow. I'll probably have to chuck that in next week's video, but hope you guys enjoyed. There's a few pointers, a few things. I've skimmed over a few things because I'm running out of time, but I think we're gonna make it. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it. Cheers.